guys, it's Nicole. I'm back with another video, and today's video is going to be about a book that I read when I was around 11 years old, and I read it. I'm kind of putting this as like part of the series of like books that I read in school that were meaningful to me or stuck with me. And even though this wasn't a book that I read with class, like in a class in school, I did get this from my school library and read it in school, so I'm still counting it as part of that series. And I actually have the physical book because I was thinking about it the other day, and it's literally one of my favorite books ever, and I don't have a physical copy of it because, like I said, I checked it out at the library, and I was like, I wonder if I can find it, and I did. So I went ahead and ordered it. Even though I'm still packing and getting myself moved literally across the country, which is a much bigger job than I thought it was going to be, but it makes sense that it's a big job because it's a long distance. Even though I'm still doing all that, and a lot of my things are still like in boxes, and more of my things are in boxes, I still wanted to order that and have it delivered because I didn't want to lose out on the opportunity to get this book. But before we get into that, I wanted to say, of course, if you have subscribed to my channel at any point in the history of my channel, thank you so much, and thank you for sticking with me and being patient with me during this transition in my life. Obviously, my uploading schedule has been so chaotic. It has not been happening at the times that I want it to be, and I didn't even get to film for like 2 weeks just now because I have been traveling back and forth between where I'm currently living and where I'm moving to, so there was just no time for me to record. So I have been just having the toughest time finding the time to make videos and edit and then upload them. So thank you to every single subscriber who has stuck with me and is being patient with me, and for always looking out for my videos. I can't even put into words how much I really genuinely appreciate you. If you have not subscribed to my channel, and if this is the first time you're seeing me, welcome, and please subscribe. It's such an easy thing to do, just clicking that little button that says subscribe, because you get notified when I upload new videos. And even though I will get back onto a schedule, which will be Tuesdays and Fridays that I upload new videos, for now, I have absolutely no schedule. I am just doing my best to record, edit, and upload when I'm able to, so you'll get notified when I finally get to upload something. If you end up enjoying this video, please like, comment, and share. I always want to hear your thoughts, so please comment below and share this video. Not everyone's going to enjoy my type of content. I don't make fast-paced content. It's not necessarily completely comedic. It's not exactly super dramatic. It's my content is a little bit niche, let's put it that way. The people that my channel is essentially meant for, that will actually enjoy what I make, it's really going to be like word of mouth that people find my channel, because typically people are more alike, and so if you like my channel, someone else you know might like my channel. So please share this video, share my channel, please, that would mean so much to me. Once I'm finally all moved into my new place, I am going to have a new like setup for recording, and I'm contemplating doing a little bit of a tour of my new place. I've never really shown where I live right now. And there's a reason for that, but it's going to be my own place. I'm super excited, and I'm thinking about doing like a tour just to kind of like show everyone like the new place I'm going to be living in and recording in, so we'll see. But I'm really excited to start this new chapter of my life, and I'm really excited to bring you guys along with me. I'm still going to be creating the same kind of content that I have been, and I don't know if I'll be making new kinds. It kind of depends on how much time I have. But regardless, I'm super excited you guys are here with me and going to come along for the ride on this new chapter in my life. So that all being said, the book that we're going to be talking about today is genuinely one of my favorite books. Like, when I think back to something that just genuinely made me happy and all I have are good thoughts, this is like one of the first books that come to mind. I read this when I was like 11 years old, and it's written for kids around that age. Like, it's not necessarily a children's book, but it's more comprehensible for a specific age group. And since I got it, I wanted to reread it actually before recording this. Have not had time, but I do plan to reread it, just not yet. I have way too much going on. I am still reading some books that I do plan on making videos about, so I don't really have time to start another one at the same exact time. But anyway, the book that we're going to be talking about today is called Elfsong by Anne Turner. And obviously, could not tell you what my first thoughts were when I saw this cover when I was younger. This is the cover that I remember, so I know that this is what I saw when I first read the book. So I can't exactly remember my thoughts when I first picked up this book. I will say though, it has a black cat on it, and elf songs, clearly that's an elf riding the cat. I was immediately sold. I have loved fantasy, fairies, magical forests, like that kind of stuff my entire life. Like, I was a little kid just obsessed with the idea of fairies and elves and mushrooms and snails, and still am to this day. And as soon as I saw this picture on the cover, which, I mean, it's so cool. I love the cat with the elf riding the cat. It's so funny. I love it so much. As soon as I saw it, I was immediately just completely enthralled with this cover. And I am going to go ahead and read the back. So, like I said, it's written for, I want to say, like preteens. So, not necessarily a children's book, but definitely more easy language. Let's put it that way. The back is not necessarily the blurb. It's kind of like a teaser, if that makes sense. So I'm going to read the back first and then we'll go into the blurb. But the back of the book says, "A sudden, sweet, wild cry curled through the woods, calling to Maddie. The sound so sweet, she thought her heart might shrivel and whirl to dust if she did not hear it again. Through a stand of birches, under a great oak, onto a dark pine she ran. Again the cry fluted through the woods. This time it coiled into her ears and rested on top of her heart. Maddie felt as if silver flowed through her veins, and she stopped to listen for the call again. She sucked in a breath and tried to move, but her feet seemed plunged too deep in the moss. Looking down, she saw something gray and small and fierce, some sort of animal standing on its hind legs, peering up at her with a narrow face and bright eyes. Was it a weasel? But then the creature stepped forward, and Maddie saw it had 2 legs, 2 arms, and a smooth face under a skin cap. And out of its mouth came these clear words, "I expected a cat, not a human being." I love that little teaser because it describes such a funny first interaction between a human and an elf. So I think that that's really cute and really funny. I am going to go ahead and get into the blurb, which is on the inside flap of the cover. So, getting into the plot of the book. It all started with cats. First, Maddie spied a runaway Tom wearing, of all things, a saddle and bridle. The next day, her own cat, Sabrina, disappeared from Grandpa's house. Then, on her search for the missing Sabrina, Maddie saw an elf. A small, fierce elf staring at her with narrow face and bright eyes. Right away, she began to hear sounds where sounds should not have been, and to understand the speech of animals and birds. But as Maddie is soon to find out, magic isn't all wonder and joy. Sometimes, Maddie thinks, it feels as if your insides have been scrambled, and she isn't sure she likes it entirely. Anne Turner has written a powerful story that is about a great deal more than magic. It is about caring and loss, about how we see the natural world, and ultimately about responsibility. And it does say at the end of the blurb, this is the first book in the Elfsong trilogy. I will say I've only read this book. I've only read Elfsong. I can't remember if at the time I ever looked into getting the other books to read. Again, I was 11-ish, 10 or 11 years old, so it's so hard to remember exactly the circumstances. But this is part of a trilogy. This is the first book. It kind of world builds, which I think is another reason I loved it so much, especially at that age. I mean, if you just remember being 11, between the ages of like 9 and 13 years old, I mean, at least for me personally, I was just so captivated by the possibility of things that are unknown, if that makes sense. This was around the time that I was like, are ghosts real? Are fairies real? Are, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And, you know, it was kind of a really cool age to read this book because it kind of made it real for me, you know, like to this day as an adult, do I like believe that there are fairies, elves, like little creatures that we just can't see? I'm not opposed to that possibility. I think that there's a lot that we don't know because there's just so much that we don't know what to look for. And you know, it might be completely made up, like there may not be fairies or elves or specifically what we're thinking of when it comes to books like these that world build that kind of stuff. But I think that it kind of helps us as people, like starting as children and then into adulthood, keep a certain magic, mysticism alive about life and nature, you know, because life can, if you let it, life as a concept when you're experiencing it can get you pretty down. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of horrible things that can happen to people and stressful things that happen to people just on a day-to-day basis. And so if you let it, life can really keep you down. And I think magic and believing in certain things, creatures, beings can be such a wonderful escape. And even as an adult, honestly, I genuinely believe that. Like I said, I don't necessarily believe specifically, like, yes, there are these things, but I'm not closed off to the possibility either. Like, I'm open to it. I can imagine it all being real. And these are just people who write these just have some sort of connection with it that, with elements of stuff that we don't necessarily see with our eyes, have a connection with it and write about it. Or it's just people writing about really cool fantasy stuff that is just a fun escape. And either way, it's a good thing. I think that either way, it works out because it's just such a fun thing to be able to have and experience believing in this kind of magic, basically. So, obviously, this book is so... It's not just world building. It's like... It's definitely an adventure book, you know? So, the little girl, Maddie, she's our main character. It doesn't say in the blurb how old she is, but I'm gonna guess she's probably around, like, the age that I was when I read this. I don't think it says how old Maddie is specifically, just kind of thumbing through. I didn't really catch anything that mentioned her age, which I feel like is intentional because that way whoever's reading it, especially if they're like preteens or children or anyone or even adults, it feels a little bit more relatable because you're not like, oh, this person's this age and I'm not that age, and it's a little bit less relatable. So that kind of makes a little bit of sense here. But obviously she is like a younger kid and she goes to stay at her grandparents' house. For what occasion, I don't know. I don't really remember, honestly. And she has her own cat, or at least the grandparents have their own cat, Sabrina, which is such a funny name for a cat. Because it makes me think of the show, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And she was a witch, not a cat, but she had a cat. Anyway, I digress. She goes to stay at her grandparents' house, and her cat, Sabrina, is there with her. And because her cat runs away, she gets introduced to the world of elves that live, at least in like the forest that's kind of near her grandparents' house. And I am obsessed with the concept of elves riding cats. Like their transportation. Like cats are like horses to elves. Like that's like the size comparison. And I'm like so obsessed with that concept. That is so amazing. Mostly because just thinking of taming a cat enough to ride them, as someone who has cats and has grown up with them, they're not exactly always super trainable. sometimes, but not always. So I love thinking about that concept. And obviously, I can't remember a lot of intricate details about the elves themselves, but when it, you know, in the blurb it does mention that it's not all rainbows and sunshine when it comes to magic and elves and everything. There are, as always in any circumstance, evils and maybe some darkness that comes along with it. You know, there's always going to be something bad, something good. That's kind of just the dichotomy of life, honestly. And obviously, as we read on the back of the book, the two, the human and the elf meet. There's obviously more than one elf, but I'm sure there's like one who's like more in the main focus. And obviously the human, Maddie, gets involved in whatever evils and darkness that elves themselves have to face. So it is such a fun adventure book. I literally cannot talk about this book in a better light. It is something I remember when I was in 6th grade, it was like not long after I had read this book, there was a project that I was assigned in my reading literature class, whatever you want to call it, that was like, just do like, it wasn't a book report itself, it was like a project on a book basically, and you could pick any book. I picked this one. Basically what I had to do was like, it was a shoebox kind of book project where it's like, I read the book, like I made like a my own book cover that described the book, and then I filled the shoebox with items that were like important to the plot, the story, the book itself. And you know what's so funny? I think my mom still has that shoebox, because I remember sometime in the last 10 years, I remember seeing it, and I made that book like, oh my God, 14 years ago. So I'm pretty sure she still has it. If she still has it and I can get a hold of it, I will 100% show it on here, because I was so proud of that project. I remember being so excited to actually make some schoolwork about a book that I loved so much. And that is such a good idea. If there's any teachers watching this, or anyone involved in education, I hope that that little anecdote gives a little bit of inspiration, or at least validates something that you do in your own class. Because of course, having students read books with you, like books that you pick out or the curriculum picks out and you read it together, super important. You've watched, or hopefully you've watched my other videos. I've made other videos about books that I read in class with my classmates and my teacher that stuck with me and meant something to me. But there is something so special about letting kids pick their own books to make a project about, especially one that means so much to them. I was so excited to make a project about this book because I loved it so much. I decorated the shoebox, like I cut out like in like this like fabric, I cut out leaves, and like, cause you know, they take place in a forest. I literally was so excited to do a project on this book. And so I hope that if you're a teacher or you want to be a teacher, I hope that you in some way can give your students a little bit of something to get them excited about reading, to give them the autonomy to choose what makes them excited, and then have them do a project on it, because that's what really solidified my love for literature and reading. I personally in school had such an amazing experience with all of my reading and literature teachers, and to this day obviously I'm so involved in books. Like it's something that I take such a pride and passion in, and something I had such an easy time studying and learning about even later in school and in college, versus my math teachers when I was in school. They were all pretty mean and not understanding. If you didn't get something, they were just pretty mean about it to me, and it made me hate math. And so I to this day hate math as a subject because of how my teachers treated me, because I was not perfect at it and did not understand it right away. I have always loved reading, even before school, and I loved math too before school because I thought it was really fun. But because of how kind and how willing they were to let you choose your own kind of path when it came to reading and understanding things, it just was a game changer. It literally changed and helped carve out my path in life in what my passions would be. So I hope that that little anecdote can inspire anyone who is involved in education. I am not, so hopefully that does something. But yeah, I don't know if I have any other like super deep thoughts about this book. Again, like I said, the plot is so hard for me to remember the specific details about. I just remember reading this. I remember picking it up and reading it and not thinking about anything else for like the next 3 years. Like anytime anyone brought up what's your favorite book, my entire time in middle school, I was like, oh, Elfsong, that's it. Like literally, I could not tell you the plot. I just can tell you the feelings that I felt after reading this book. And to me, that's kind of what books are all about. Like, yes, the plot is important. Like there's usually a message involved, and it's but the whole point of art as a concept, and books are a form of art, is to make you feel something. And not only feel something, but remember those feelings your entire life. Like, I remember feeling so excited and curious and just this sense of wonder about the world because of this book. It made me so excited to go and explore the world, because you're like, you never know what you might stumble upon. Like, she just went to her grandparents' house, and then all of a sudden she stumbled upon this entire world of elves that ride cats to get around. And I mean, what an adventure. Like, she had no idea she was going to go on it, but man, like, it just made me so excited about the world. And that is what is so important about books, and why I love books so much, and why I constantly want people to read more. Everyone needs to read more. If there's books that you've read that you haven't liked, it's okay. That book wasn't for you, but that doesn't mean that there's not a book out there for you that will mean so much to you like this book meant to me. So I love that I got to buy this book, and I don't remember who it is, but shout out to the person that had this and was willing to sell their copy to me. This is no longer made. It was published in 1995, and I don't think that they're printing this book anymore, because I literally could not find it anywhere else. So I am so grateful that I was able to get a copy of this. I love reading physical books. I don't like reading books on like a screen, like on a phone or a tablet. So I'm so excited to read this again. And I hope you guys go check out this book. Like I said, it may be a little hard to find, but if you like the genre that I've described, if it at all sounds interesting to you, I think you can find it. I think you can manage. But yeah, that's really all I had to say about this book. I love it so much, and I really wanted to share it with you guys. I want to thank you guys for watching and for being here. I cannot wait for this new chapter in my life, and to make more content and just grow my channel. And I love that you all are here. So thank you guys so much for being here and for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.